Hey everyone, and welcome back to Learn English Naturally. Today we are taking a deep dive into a very specific scenario you'll probably encounter when you're living in an English-speaking country.
Going to the movies.
Going to the movies.
That's right.
So we are going to explore everything.
From buying tickets
Buying tickets.
to navigating the theater.
To ordering snacks.
Yes, all the essentials.
All those essential movie snacks.
Exactly. And we are going to make sure that you can do all of those things with confidence.
Yes, and this is going to go beyond just knowing basic vocabulary.
That's right.
We're going to be looking at how all of these phrases are used in conversation.
In natural conversation.
The subtle nuances of pronunciation.
And even some cultural tips to help you blend right in.
All right, so let's set the scene.
Okay.
You've decided to see the latest blockbuster.
Okay.
What is the first step?
Well, before you even get to the theater,
Okay.
you might want to think about what kind of movie experience you're looking for. Are you happy with just a regular screening? Or do you want to go 3D?
Ooh.
Or maybe you're feeling fancy
Ooh.
and you want to check out the VIP section.
The VIP section, all right.
But first things first.
First, we need those tickets.
You got to get the ticket.
So when we hit the box office,
Yes.
what are some key words we should know?
You'll definitely hear words like box office, of course.
Okay.
That's where you buy the tickets.
Yes.
You'll hear the word screen,
Screen.
referring to the specific screen showing your movie.
Okay.
And showtime, meaning the time the movie starts.
The showtime? Okay.
So,
And the ticket itself.
the ticket itself.
Okay.
Exactly.
But what if there are different formats like 3D
Oh, yeah.
or IMAX?
That's a great question.
How do I ask about those options?
You can simply say, what are the show times for movie title in 3D?
Right.
Or is this movie also showing in IMAX?
Okay, so just be specific.
Don't hesitate to be specific.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. I'm feeling much more confident about getting the right tickets.
Okay, good.
Now, let's say I'm at the box office.
Okay.
What's a natural way to ask for 2 tickets for the 7 p.m. show?
You could say something like, hi, I'd like 2 tickets for the 7 p.m. showing of movie title, please.
Okay.
Notice how I said showing instead of showtime.
Oh.
Just a slightly more natural way
A little more natural? Okay, I like that.
to phrase it in that context.
Now, I know you're big on pronunciation.
Yes.
Any words I should be extra careful with?
One that often trips people up
Okay.
is theater.
Theater.
Make sure you're emphasizing the first syllable.
Okay.
Eater.
The litter.
Not the eater.
Not the aider?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see how that could be confusing.
Yeah.
But I've got my tickets.
Okay, great.
But no movie experience.
It's complete without
Snacks.
snacks.
Let's talk about snacks.
Yes.
But before we dive into all that deliciousness,
Okay.
let's arm ourselves with some essential concession stand vocabulary.
Hello.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so we have the classics, popcorn, soda, candy,
Yeah.
and the concession stand itself. But you might also hear combo deals,
Combo deals.
which offer a combination of snacks and drinks.
Ooh. At a discounted price.
Yes, always a good deal.
Combo deals are my weakness.
I hear you.
I'm at the concession stand. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed by all the choices.
All right.
How can I ask for a large popcorn with butter in a way that sounds natural and confident?
Instead of just saying, can I get butter?
Okay.
Try something like, could I get some butter on that, please?
Could I get some butter on that, please?
Yeah, it's just a small change.
Okay.
But it makes a big difference in sounding more polite and natural.
That does sound more natural.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask for clarification.
That's right. If you don't understand something, you can say,
Uh,
excuse me, what's in the super combo?
oh, yeah.
Do you have any sugar-free soda options?
Okay. Those are great examples. It's so important to feel comfortable asking questions.
Especially in a new environment.
Yeah. And speaking of new environments,
Okay.
let's move on to actually finding our seats in the theater.
Okay.
What are some key words or phrases that will help us navigate this maze of rows and aisles?
First off, familiarize yourself with row
Row.
and aisle.
Aisle.
Now remember, row is the horizontal line of seats,
Okay.
and aisle is the space you walk through.
Got it.
Now, some theaters have assigned seating
Okay.
where your ticket tells you exactly where to sit.
Yeah.
Others are general admission, meaning you can choose any seat you like.
Okay.
So it's good to know that beforehand.
Okay.
Can save you some awkward fumbling around in the dark.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah,
I've definitely had those awkward moments.
I think we all have.
So let's say I'm trying to find my seat, but I'm a bit lost.
Okay.
What's a polite way to ask for help?
You could simply say, excuse me, could you tell me where row G is? Or, I'm looking for seat 12. Would you mind pointing me in the right direction?
Okay, those are really helpful phrases.
Great.
I found my row,
Okay.
but now I need to make sure that I'm not about to sit on someone's lap.
Right.
What's the best way to check if a seat is taken?
You can just ask, is this seat taken?
Is this seat taken?
And if you want to be extra polite, you can add a excuse me at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Excuse me, is this seat taken?
Perfect.
All right, so we've covered buying tickets, ordering snacks, and even finding our seats.
We've done it.
But I can't help but wonder,
What's that?
are there any unspoken rules of movie etiquette we should be aware of?
That's a great question. It's definitely important to be mindful of others, especially when it comes to noise and distractions.
Okay.
We'll explore those cultural nuances in more detail in just a bit.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Right back after a quick break.
We're back and ready to delve into those unspoken rules of movie etiquette.
Yes, those little things that can make or break the experience for everyone.
Okay, so first things first. Talking during the movie.
Oh.
Is it a big no-no or are there exceptions?
Well, as a general rule, it's best to keep your conversations to a minimum during the film.
Okay,
You don't want to distract others from enjoying the story.
that makes sense. What about those smartphones?
Ah, yes.
You know, I know it can be hard to resist checking for those notifications.
You're so tempting.
But is it considered rude to have your phone out during the movie?
Absolutely. The bright light from your phone can be incredibly distracting
Okay.
to those around you.
Yeah.
So it's best to keep it on silent and tucked away.
Like in your bag or your pocket?
Exactly. Think of it as a mini digital detox.
Ooh, I like that. A chance to unplug and truly immerse yourself in the movie.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about food.
Okay.
Now, we've already covered ordering snacks.
Right.
But are there any cultural norms around eating during the movie?
In most English-speaking countries, it's perfectly acceptable to munch on your popcorn and sip your soda throughout the film.
Okay.
However, it's always courteous to be mindful of those around you.
Okay.
Try to avoid making excessive noise with your snacks.
So, like, no crunching your popcorn extra loudly.
Exactly, or slurping your drink.
Good point. Nobody wants to hear a symphony of chewing during a quiet scene.
Right.
What about arriving late?
Oh.
Is that a big faux pas?
It's definitely not ideal. Not only do you miss part of the movie,
Yeah.
but you also can disrupt others by trying to find your seat in the dark.
Right.
If you know you're going to be late, it's always a good idea to call the theater and let them know.
Oh, okay.
They might be able to suggest a later showtime or advise you on the best way to enter the theater discreetly.
That is a helpful tip. I never thought about calling the theater ahead of time.
It can be a good strategy.
Now, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the challenge of understanding different accents in films.
Yes.
I know this can be a real hurdle for English learners.
It's very common.
Do you have any strategies for overcoming this?
Absolutely. So first, don't be afraid to use subtitles.
Subtitles.
They can be a fantastic tool
Okay.
for following along with the dialogue,
Oh.
especially when encountering unfamiliar accents.
Yeah.
You can even pause the movie and rewind if you need to hear something again.
Subtitles are a lifesaver.
They are.
And I think it's also helpful to watch movies with a variety of accents.
Yes. The more you expose yourself to different ways of speaking English,
Yeah.
the easier it will become to understand them.
It's like training your ear
Exact.
to pick up on the nuances
Yes.
of all these different regional dialects.
Absolutely. And you can even turn it into a fun challenge.
Oh.
Try watching a movie with a friend and see who can identify the most accents.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. And speaking of friends,
Okay.
let's talk about engaging in conversations about movies after you've seen them.
Yes.
What are some phrases we can use to share our opinions and maybe even spark a friendly debate?
This is where your vocabulary and conversational skills really come into play.
Okay.
You can use phrases like, "What did you think of the movie?" Or, "I thought the ending was really surprising."
Uh-huh.
You can also express your opinions more strongly
How so?
by saying things like, "I absolutely loved it," or
Yeah.
"I wasn't a big fan of the plot."
I wasn't a big fan of the plot.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to use really descriptive language
Yes.
to talk about the acting or the special effects or the soundtrack.
For example, you could say, "The lead actor's performance was captivating," or "The soundtrack was incredibly moving."
Those are great examples. And remember,
Yes.
even if you didn't love the movie,
Yeah.
you can still have a really lively conversation about it.
That's right. You might disagree with your friend's interpretation.
Oh, yes.
Or you might have noticed different details that stood out to you.
It's all about sharing perspective
Exactly.
and engaging in a thoughtful discussion.
I love that.
But before we get too carried away with our movie analysis,
Oh.
I think it's time to wrap up this section of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from basic vocabulary and pronunciation to cultural nuances and even conversation starters.
We've done a lot.
But hold on tight, folks, because when we come back, we're going to take our movie-going English to the next level.
Yes, we are.
We'll be exploring some advanced phrases and strategies.
To really master those tricky movie theater interactions.
Ooh, I can't wait. Welcome back to our movie theater deep dive. I'm so excited to explore those advanced phrases and strategies you mentioned.
Well, you know how we've been practicing those clear and polite questions like, is this seat taken?
Yes.
Let's level those up a bit.
Ooh, I love a challenge. Give me an example.
Okay, imagine you're in a crowded theater and someone's bag is kind of blocking your way.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, excuse me, you could try something like, I'm so sorry, would you mind scooting your bag over just a tad so I can get to my seat?
Ooh, that's so much more specific and courteous.
Right.
I can see how that would be helpful in a tight spot. What else can we refine?
How about ordering snacks?
Okay.
Instead of, can I get a large popcorn? Try this. I'd love a large popcorn, please.
I'd love a large popcorn, please.
It's just a little more subtle, but it makes you sound much more like a confident English speaker.
That's a great tip. I often hear those little phrases used by native speakers, and now I understand how to use them myself.
Yeah.
Are there any other scenarios we can practice?
Let's say you need to ask someone to be quiet
Okay.
instead of a blunt be quiet. Try a gentle, excuse me, I'm having a bit of trouble hearing the dialogue. Would you mind lowering your voices a bit?
That's such a polite and effective way to address the situation. It's amazing how a few carefully chosen words can make a big difference.
It really is. And remember, even if you make a mistake, don't be afraid to laugh it off.
Oh, yeah.
Most people are understanding, especially if you're making an effort to communicate in English.
So true. It's all about having fun and learning along the way. Now, before we wrap up our deep dive, I want to circle back to a key piece of advice you shared earlier.
Okay.
Using subtitles. I know some people might be hesitant to rely on them,
Yeah.
but you've really convinced me that they are a valuable tool.
They really are. Subtitles can help you catch those tricky words and phrases that you might miss otherwise. And they can even introduce you to new vocabulary. Think of it as like having a built-in English tutor right there on the screen.
I love that analogy. And it's not just about understanding the words. It's also about picking up on those colloquialisms and slang terms and cultural references that make movies so rich and entertaining.
Exactly. And, you know, as you become more comfortable with the language, you can gradually reduce your reliance on subtitles.
Right.
It's a natural progression.
This has been such an insightful and practical deep dive. I feel like I've gained so much confidence in my ability to navigate the movie theater experience in English.
That's great to hear.
So tell me, what's the most important thing to remember?
I think the most important thing to remember is that it's all about practice. The more you immerse yourself in the language, the more natural and effortless it will become. So go out there, watch some amazing movies, and don't be afraid to put your English skills to the test.
That's a wrap on our movie theater deep dive. We hope you enjoyed the show and learned some valuable tips along the way. Don't forget to subscribe and tune in for our next episode, where we'll be exploring another fascinating topic. Until then, happy watching.